Hello, my name is Manik Maharjan, and in this video I will be talking about highway capacity and level of service. The Highway Capacity Manual defines capacity as the maximum hourly rate at which persons or vehicle can reasonably be expected to traverse a point or uniform section of a lane or roadway during a given time period under prevailing roadway traffic and control conditions. Means any change in prevailing conditions will result in a change in the capacity of a highway. Now, talking about some factors affecting the highway capacity, we have the roadway conditions. It refers to geometric characteristics of the road like the number of lanes, shoulder widths, design speed, etc. And we have traffic conditions. Traffic condition refers to the characteristics of the traffic, meaning the users of the road. This means the distribution of vehicle types and vehicle according to the direction and lane of travel. Control conditions. Control conditions refer to the types and specific designs of traffic control devices and regulations on the roadway. Traffic signal timings, type of signal. Is it a flashing yellow arrow or a 3 or a 5 section traffic signal? Now, let's move on to level of services. The Highway Capacity Manual defines level of services as a qualitative measure describing operational conditions within a traffic stream and their perception by motorists and or passengers. The operating speed goes down and the driver restrictions becomes more greater as traffic volume increases. The level of service is commonly accepted as a measure of the restrictive effects of increased volumes. It is a concept that categorizes degrees of congestion based on speed, density, and delay times. There are 6 levels of services which are given letter representations from A to F, with A being the best and F being the worst. Here's a table that categorizes level of services according to the stop delay per vehicle from the Highway Capacity Manual. Now, moving on to the specifics. Here's a picture that represents level of service A. This represents free flow. The speed is controlled by the driver's desires, or physical roadway conditions, as they are unaffected by the presence of other vehicles on the road. Road users are very comfortable while using the roads with level of service A. This picture represents a roadway with level of service B. It represents stable flow, but the operating speed begins to restrict due to the presence of other vehicles on the road, and it starts to become more noticeable. The other vehicles on the road starts to become more noticeable. However, there is still little or no restrictions on maneuverability from the other vehicles. Drivers can still change their lanes comfortably. This picture represents a roadway with level of service C. This represents stable flow. This flow is still stable, but the speeds and maneuverability of users of the road becomes more closely restricted. The speed is affected while maneuvering between lanes requires caution from the driver. This picture represents a roadway with level of service D. So we can see it approaches high density and slightly unstable flow. Tolerable speeds can be maintained, but drivers will start to have temporary restrictions to flow because there is a substantial drop in speed, and again, changing lanes requires extra caution. This picture represents level of service E. As we can see, the volumes in the roadway is nearing its capacity. The speed typically, the speed at which the drivers typically drives be around 30 miles per hour. The flow is a little unstable, and the freedom to maneuver between lanes is restricted. The drivers may experience stoppages of momentary duration. Now, moving on to level of service F. So we can see it's pretty packed. Represents breakdown flow. The road has come to a has come very close to its operating capacity, at its maximum operating capacity. Hence, queues will be formed as the arrival flow exceeds the discharge flow. In this case, the operating speed is very, very slow, and maneuvering between lanes is almost impossible. Now, moving on to factors affecting level of services. There are different factors that affect the level of service of a road. The first being lane width. Narrow lanes and narrow shoulders or other restrictions on the edge clearance reduces the capacity of width, because obviously if the widths are shorter, that the road cannot accommodate a lot of vehicles. The next one being horizontal or vertical alignments. If there are sharp horizontal curves, it causes the vehicle to travel more slowly, because it can cause a vehicle to roll over if it goes through the curve at a higher speed. Short vertical curves over crests or obstruction to visions on the inside of horizontal curves likewise should also cause vehicle to slow down. Another factor affecting level of service is the heavy vehicles. Trucks require more highway capacity per vehicle than passenger cars. A truck in the traffic stream may have the effect same as multiple passenger cars, depending on particular situation. Vehicles like public transportation vehicles like buses, which are larger than a normal passenger car, use more capacity than passenger car, affecting the level of service of a roadway. The next one being grades. On uphill or upgrades, a vehicle is helped to come to a stop by gravity and brakes. However, the effect is opposed on downhills or downgrades. So on an uphill, it's safe or desirable. The safe or desirable vehicle spacing can be smaller, which aids to increase the capacity of the road. In this video, we talked about the highway capacity and level of services and how it is determined. We shall talk about traffic study in the next video. Thank you.